We
Yeah,
only do Microsoft applications, so we don't have any of the competing products. So we're very
right.
proud of uh, having that path forward from
Mhm.
GP to stay on GP or GP to Business Central or even GP to finance and supply chain. So we have an enterprise group as well.
Perfect.
So lots of options for everyone. So here we are. So,
Yeah.
thank you for being our guest today. We're GP Support North, an Endeavor 4 company, and are here to help our clients get the most out of their Microsoft Business applications. This summer, we started the GP Golden Years webinar series and have a variety of content, tips and tricks that we've been doing to our client base and others. And just, it's all part of our love for Dynamics GP.
Mhm.
And we're creating a new user group focused on end user education called the
Nice.
GP Revolution. So you can come join the GP Revolution
Yeah.
and very much, you know, stay as long as you want with Dynamics
Mhm.
GP. And it's a great mature product. We love working with Dynamics GP and have a large support team. Let me do the roadmap, and then I'll give it over
Sure.
to you, Terry, and you can provide some updates. Thanks once again for being our guest today. So this is off the Microsoft website. GP official end-of-life service is December 31st, 2029, with additional security updates to April 2031, and ... how people are going to work after that is a matter of their risk appetite. The nice
Mhm.
thing with the current version, which is 18.8, we've been calling it GP 2026, kind of like a new model year of a car, which
Mhm.
means this October will be GP 2027, also known as 18.9.
Yep.
The current 18.8 supports now SQL Server 2025 and Windows Server 2025.
Mhm.
And if your infrastructure, being SQL Server, Windows Server, has a 5 to 10 year lifespan, that does assist with that ... what happens after
Mhm.
the security updates that end officially in 2031 or the more high-level end of life. So we're excited about that. And there's 2 stars. So right now, the green one, we're on GP 2026, which was 18.8, released October of last year.
Mhm.
And coming up, exciting part of your announcements is going to be
Yeah.
18.9 for Dynamics GP, and that's coming out October this year.
Yes.
So, Terry, why don't you reintroduce yourself?
Mhm.
How much do you love GP? How long you've been with GP, formerly Great Plains, and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Scott, for having me and for your team and for everything you do for our customers. It's, greatly appreciated. And as everyone knows in the community, I love GP. I love supporting customers. We just recently celebrated our Microsoft 25th anniversary. You might have saw some pictures on LinkedIn. There was many of us yet in Fargo that were part of the 25 celebration of Microsoft. I've actually been there 27 years. I was part of the Great Plains as well, and with Doug, and it was so fun back in the day and how we, worked so well together, and we worked with partners, and we were all excited, about the product, and it's still a great product. So, and I'm excited to support people on it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
And why don't we just get into some of the meat and potatoes of recent updates, and then
Sure.
we'll have a little pause and talk more about what you see for the future.
Sure. Well, I thought, I haven't gotten in front of anyone for a while, so thanks, Scott, again for doing this. And so I was going to recap just, to make sure you're up to date on some of the things that we've released in U.S. payroll. We've had some tax updates throughout the year. I have the dates and what states changed there. We also released a January hotfix. It had some things from year end that we ran into issues, not big ones, but we thought, let's just get this fixed in the January hotfix. So we did release a January hotfix this year as well with some payroll and payables changes. There was a late 1099 form change. So that was also in the January hotfix from last year.
Okay. And yeah, we have some links here. I'll make sure I include those with the recording so people can
Perfect.
click on them and find all the information that's already been posted online.
Sure. And then most recently, for those in Canada, we're still doing the Canadian tax updates, and they had a few, no federal changes, but they did have provincial changes this year. So we released that probably about a week ago in June. And we also fixed some issues with that. So we actually changed some extra dictionaries in here. And these are all things that were recently reported by customers. So we fixed an issue in human resources. Some of those calendar lookups were stopping at some dates. Our lockbox files were importing incorrectly based on some dates. And then with our 18.8 update, if you file your VAT returns, we've made some change. There's a lot of changes if you're using VAT because we got to keep up with the HMRC. And some of the changes we made in 18.8 were requiring user SA. So we made sure to fix that as well, as we don't want customers having to log in as SA to file VAT returns. So that's all
Great.
updated, yep, in the mid-year update.
Security is always important, so we're
It
always
is.
reminding clients of who's in, who's out, what are different security permissions
Yep,
and roles. So fewer uses of SA is definitely appreciated.
yep. Notch, I just included this. It was a recent blog I did because a few people have asked me about it. This started pre-COVID. Nacha was making some changes on their files, and then they kind of delayed it, and now it's coming up again. And I just kind of explained that in the blog, and we're not making any changes. It's really for more bigger organizations than small. So it doesn't qualify for a lot, but I also have some solutions in there if you're worried about it, and where you can go look for more of that if it's needed.
Great, and this link will take them to at least that explanation, and then they can bridge from there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Great, manager reporter.
Yeah, as you said, Scott, just being current, right, on SQL and Windows, over the year end, we might have saw some customers, like they may upgrade their GP, but then they didn't upgrade SQL. Like we might be moving, we're
It's
going to
always a
do some,
mix.
yeah, it is. And I just would recommend try to stay as current as you are if you're going to be on GP, just because, we see different people trying to get into our systems, and we have, security updates, and it to sit on an older SQL, it's just letting you be more vulnerable, I think. So when you're working with your partner for your upgrades, try to invest and upgrade your SQL as well, and some of those things. So even at year-end time, we had a few issues with web services, web client, some of those integrating things. We had issues with templates, not big ones, if you were sitting on those old servers. So I tried to document those in our year-end blogs, but just keep that in mind. And then management reporter is another big one. We've seen this summer and spring just a few updates where, things don't export right, or, it's not viewing correctly in Edge. And so I linked to this blog as well, but just, that's another reminder, some of these older technologies, as things change, it's going to be harder to keep up with that. And so we're going to have to, think creatively, when we have these workarounds, put it out in the community. We have the best community and support system around, I feel, and we work well together. So, we do a lot of blogging. So whenever we hear of something, we put that out there, and our partners, our MVPs, developers, they're really good about doing that as well. So continue that community support as we go into, as Scott mentioned, these later years. We're going to need to depend on our community and solutions even more. So I wanted to link to this management reporter, if you're having issues with that.
Great. Yep. We all love MR and still working strong.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some fun stuff.
Yes. What's new? What's coming up?
Right. I wanted to just kind of give you a hint of, what we have coming. So we are still doing features, and let's talk a little bit about what our release plan and schedule is looking forward. So you've probably seen this before. I've updated it, but even though we're in the near end of the years, we're still going to provide these updates to you. Customers are paying enhancement plans. I think that's important if you're going to be on GP to pay enhancement plans, because you get these updates then. And also, if there's any discounts from Microsoft for Business Central like we've had in the past, then if you're current on your enhancement plan, you're going to qualify for those discounts. So I think it is important to stay on that. I've ran into some customers that need to buy a new user, but they quit their enhancement a year ago because they're trying to clean up some data for a migration. They're kind of stuck, or they might need this update and they didn't think they did, so they canceled the enhancement, and now they're kind of stuck and can't upgrade. So I think it's important to be on those enhancement plans when you're using Dynamics GP. So with our 18, we'll continue to do mid-year and the release. So we have a big one coming up. That's 18.9 in October. I have our system requirements updated, not too many changes there. I have our direct jumps. We always, we say you should apply at least a minimum an update a year. We do allow you to do one, because typically Dynamics GP customers may skip one version level. So we allow you to skip one version. But as we get into these, 18.4, 18.5, well, you can't jump from 18.4 to 18.9. It's just not going to work. Your upgrade folders aren't there. If we have new tables, the new table scripts don't run. So just be cognizant of that when you're looking at these upgrade jumps, sitting on older versions, going to current, you might need to make a couple hops, and I have that all listed there for you.
Yeah, our technical people have all that, and I always find it interesting that there's actually 4 digits after each of the numbers.
Yeah.
So I think, there's only been, one version a year, and then we go back to your release schedule. Oh, it's actually,
Right.
Potentially 6 versions per year, but then there's even micro versions in there. So
Yeah.
some years have been 7, 8 or more, and definitely an interesting numbering scheme. So we're at 18.9 coming out.
Yeah.
What's the naming convention? It's going to be 18.10 and then 18.11 and 18.12 till we hit that 2029?
I think so. I assume so. Yep.
Great.
Uh-huh.
So new feature functions. Tell me more.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. Again, I'll preface this. It's all subject to change, right? But we're all from North Dakota, and I always say we do a lot of our coding in the winter, so some of these are pretty baked and set in. This was actually one we tried to get into 18.8, and it didn't quite make it. So it's a highly suggested feature out there. I linked to it, so you can kind of go out and read the suggestion and why customers may want it. But we're going to add an option in the setup, so when you're voiding payables checks, we have a reason to void. So it'll be something you can turn on if you want to use it, and you don't have to use it. So that's kind of a cool feature that was voted on by our customers.
Great. Yeah, love new buttons.
All right. Smart lists. Oh, we all love our smart lists, don't we, Scott?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
we do.
And this kind of coincides with Smart List Builder with E1 as well. And just everybody loves Smart Lists. It's one of the best things in Dynamics GP. And then BC kind of rolled off of one of these features as well, because feedback from our customers, they all like it. Well, what we're seeing is, so many, right, might create views and have all these smart lists out there, and really they look at it and it's like, who's using all this? Is the user still there? When was it last run? So what we're trying to do with this feature, and it's again linked out there, is, when was it last run? Who ran it? Maybe, who created and modified it? I did reach out to E1 when we were looking at this. They have some of that with their Smart List Builder, but we're going a little more even for the tracking piece that they said they've had people ask for. So that's kind of nice as well. So just more things around Smart Lists and tracking, so you can handle all your lists better.
That's great. Thank you.
This one is around the distribution series. Many of our customers are using Workflow. They love it. It's a great audit tool. It has the email capability. So as they get more extensive in the workflow, this kind of came up as, when we're canceling a workflow, it would be nice if we didn't have to go through, when we're canceling the PO, it'd be nice if we didn't have to go through Workflow. So we're adding a little, autocomplete function within that.
Great. Thank you. And I love the continual maturity of the system, even though it's already, all the way there. It's those little extra tinkers that's going to help everyone's lives be better.
Right, exactly, Scott. And that's kind of what we're doing when we look at these. You're not going to see us redesign anything, right? We don't want to break our base of Dynamics GP for everybody and all our ISVs, but we just want to make those little things that help our customers and what our existing customers want. And this is one too, again, with workflow and all those notifications everyone uses. It was a suggestion out there in the setup where if you have 5 approvers and one approves it, then could you notify people that, it got approved? And it's, again, some might not like that or want all that. So it's going to be a turn on type of functionality, but addition to some of our email notifications that we already have.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think this is the last slide for what's new. Tell me about quality reports.
Right. So I just put a few of these in there, and there's going to be more features, right? I just gave you a sneak peek of some, but there'll definitely be more. Those are the higher hit ones, I'd say. And then I put a few quality reports in there, just some things we're working on since we're in the workflow area. Sometimes our attachments didn't always go, if you took specific steps. The recall button is not labeled correctly, and some, may know what it is up in there. So we're going to fix that. The view history is grayed out on some of the journal inquiry windows when it's in a reoccurring batch. So we're going to work on that. And also when manufacturing is installed, which a lot of our customers use, that's a big thing why they may stay on GP a little bit longer is because they have extensive manufacturing. When we're editing, we get some things are not, they're getting overstated when we do this type of process. So we're trying to work on that one as well.
Yeah, and a few years ago, the extended pack was be merged in with the base. So there's even opportunity for people to be newly using more of the manufacturing and field service modules that they may not have had access in the past.
And there'll be more quality reports as well, but I just listed a few I knew would be in there.
Great. Thank you. Coming back to the GP roadmap, if we think of what's happening after 2029, there's these secret security updates. In your opinion, what's the difference between what we just covered now and what security updates might look like?
Right. I really like how you highlight the 2029, Scott. That we did get it extended. It was like September. We extended into December. What's nice is it just, kind of with cutovers, if you're moving and migrating, it gives you that last year-end update, maybe a tax update if you need it. Use it as a safeguard. But if I was a customer, I'd really start looking at, what are we going to do with our company? And if we're running payroll, maybe we need to look at, do we break off payroll sooner rather than later? And then do our base core financials. But I wouldn't count on much after 2029 for a release. If you think of Microsoft or GP in general, we don't do a lot of security updates. And security is, it could be different to you, Scott, than it is to me, right? And so if we all remember the template and black box days when Office kind of broke our templates.
Yes. And the TLS 1.1 versus 1.2, that was end of world days.
Yeah.
The cloud's not talking.
Right. I would hope if it's impacting a majority of our customers, we would release something, but we have to think about that, right? So think about what you use in the product. And I wouldn't expect much, but, there may be some type of security issue that we need to adhere to. But, on this, I doubt we're going to release much. So I wouldn't expect much.
If there was a SQL Server 2030,
the
Windows Server 2030, would that be qualified as a security update, or is that like a gray area?
Right. I'm just going to be honest, even as, because we are an older platform, even when you talk about SQL 25, we saw a little performance hit with GP. And I think David Musgraves did a blog on it, and we're trying to do some workarounds with that because SQL is becoming so, secure, and they're trying to, secure it more that it's for our older technologies, it's hard with that. So I want to say SQL 2025 may be the last SQL we support. And And,
Okay.
so I would just think about it that way because it's getting harder and harder for us to, I mean, while yes, we do our tests on it, but, if they make some big changes, we might just not be able to be on any newer sequels. So I just think of that as well. But especially when you're upgrading now, get on SQL 2025 if you can. We have some workarounds. We're kind of working internally with the SQL team to see with those ports, and it will be published if there's anything around that. And not everyone's experiencing it, but it's just something to think about.
That's perfect. So it
Hmm.
goes right into, life beyond 2029. It's really,
Right?
our GP Support North team and others in the GP community have all sort of made a 10-year pledge in the last year or so
Mhm.
of being able to do our best efforts, work as a community, get those additional patches, move you on or off of payroll.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's support plans. There's, as you mentioned, SQL Server 2025 and Windows Server. That's going to buy you some time. You got to do, another upgrade to get there,
Yeah.
and then be able to take it. And obviously, you can move to the cloud and stay with Microsoft. That's obviously or in our opinions, heavily biased towards Microsoft. Please don't leave the
Right.
platform.
Right. Yep. I totally agree. And, we have the best community out there, I'll say. We love our customers and partners, and we all really work together. We have a great base. So, if there is an issue, we have a lot of MVPs out there, and they're all rooting for GP and our customers and partners. So, definitely there will be support out there for everyone.
So round of applause. Thank you,
Yeah,
Terry, for being our guest. I
absolutely.
also understand that you're approaching retirement. Do you want to
Yes.
share that news?
Sure. Well, I sent out an email last week to many that I am going to retire from Microsoft. They offered a voluntary retirement package to many Microsoft employees. You probably saw that in the news. And, it's not because of AI or any of that. I mean, definitely we're doing things with that. We got AI and Business Central, and it's great, but it's just, you know, um, they're trying to move some of their workforce, and it was a great opportunity for me, and so I took it. So I'll be retiring here this week, and we'll definitely keep my eye on the community, and you can reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. I always have a passion for GP, and of course, I love payroll, so you never know what the future will hold.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Terry.
Mhm.
With the legacy that you're leaving, the blogging, the evangelism, the leadership, is
Mhm.
there anyone stepping up right now that you can announce, or do we need to wait to see who's going to be our new second favorite?
Right. Well, as of course there's less and less, I stuck for GP because I love it, right? But a lot of people have moved on, and, we are, pushed to move on as well. If it's Business Central, a lot of our support team, some have gone to F&O, they're learning Power Apps, it's just really a changing time for support. So there's not necessarily one person. There's still going to be a dedicated support team, as we know, to help you. So that's, I guess, where I would direct any questions you have. Just create a case with the support team and go from there.
Fantastic.
Hmm.
Okay, then we will look for those next announcements
Hmm.
and continue on with support. So
All right.
I think that's the end.
Hmm.
Thank you very much, Terry. Appreciate it. Congratulations on your early retirement. Well deserved, and I hope that you're going to have a lot of fun in these next phases of your adventure.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Terry. That was great.
Yes. Well, thank you for doing that, Scott. I really, at first I'm like, oh, like, no, I think it's a good idea. And
We'll
yeah,
put up on LinkedIn. Everyone's going to be so excited, and not everyone, I think, saw the retirement announcement. So that'll
right.
be fun to do a little extra celebration in your favor, and we'll make
Right.
sure it's up on LinkedIn and share it around. I
Yep.
have a few people internally that has even saying, guess what? I have a secret.
I know. Yeah,
So
it's
we'll
all
share it with them.
good.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Thanks
Have a
again.
great morning.
You
Bye for
too.
now.
Bye.